Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Guitar Souls podcast. It is episode 29. I am one of your hosts, Levi Clay, and I am here with my good furry buddy, Mike McLaughlin. How's it going, man?
Buongiorno, not bad, mate. Yourself?
Well, I'm not feeling my best.
Yeah, but I think this is like the illness episode, so if there's coughing and spluttering and crying and sniffling, then we apologise in advance.
But there's no stopping us, you know, when we need to record, we're just going to do it, and because we enjoy it, and amazingly, it seems that some other people are enjoying it.
I know. Big thanks to anyone who has spent any time whatsoever looking into the podcast, giving it a listen, watching the videos, leaving comments, leaving suggestions. We've actually got one absolutely fantastic bit of information that's going to be part of the stories today. We won't reveal just yet, but it was an unbelievable viewer suggestion.
Yeah. Looking forward to talking about that. Yeah, I agree with you on that. So thank you very much to anybody that does spend your time with us. But you can do so much more than spend your time with us. Why not spend your money with us and head on over to Teespring and pick up a Guitar Souls t-shirt if you enjoy the show. It is a great way to support us. And it pays for our hosting, which is, yeah.
And for those of you that aren't watching, I'm doing a very silent but forceful applause.
The only person. Everyone else is currently groaning. Oh, he's asking for money again.
We are sponging bastards. Please provide.
Yeah, yes. So there has been suggestions from people to make some different merch, some other shirts, and I toyed around with a design on something. It didn't come out quite how I liked it, how I wanted it, but I will. As we were talking about before the show, I have no ability to do any sort of design work whatsoever. So that'll be why. That will just require paying someone to do that again. Because professionals are professionals, and I am not a professional.
Well, you kind of are.
Well, so here's a sign of how unprofessional I am. I did a live stream last night, right?
Right.
I do a monthly live stream.
Usually Friday night, is it not?
Yeah, but I was away.
That's right, you're on holiday.
So, I do two monthly streams. I do a public one, which is a transcription stream.
Yep.
And I also do a study club stream, which is for my $20 plus patrons.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, where we look at a book or an instructional video or whatever, and I just sort of go through the book and practice the exercises and talk about the content in it, and mostly show people how you can go about taking material from a book and using it in your own practice routine, adapting it for your own personal needs. It's a lot of fun, and to be honest, it's just an opportunity for me to do some damn practice, which is cool. So
always good.
Yeah, 2 hour stream last night. Got about an hour and 40 minutes into it, and someone said there's an echo, there's a weird echo. And at that point I realised that I had two microphones on and had two microphones on for an hour and 40 minutes, and nobody had elected to say anything up until that point. So that put me in a right shit mood, and I immediately went, oh, cool, well, that's that stream ruined. So, awesome. Thanks for letting me know, guys. I'm going to end the stream now. I will do another one later in the week to make up for it.
Yeah, big fucking prima donna.
I know. Well, I listened back to it, and it really was, like, just awful. Same levels. It was the microphone for the camera, but also this one on.
Oh man!
And there was like a small delay between the two of them as well. So
it's not good.
Not good. So sometimes professional, occasionally professional, but last night not so professional.
Oh, you're not too well, mate. We'll give you a bye.
Yes. So we got a lot of things to talk about today. We didn't
indeed.
actually write them down, but I have them all here opened in Chrome as usual. An endless list of things in Chrome.
Levi's got the most tabs open on any Chrome instance you've ever seen. Like 1 or 2 already destroys the RAM you've got in your computer and eats away at it. And he's got about 35.
So
for the first time ever.
Yeah, usually it's 3 or 4. I did something very rare for me actually today.
You shut your computer down?
I restarted my computer yesterday because I was
that must be the first time in about a year.
It was so it hadn't been off for 2 Guitar Souls before that. Yeah. I work a lot.
Right. Yeah. Save your work.
Effort. So we're going to talk about that rap cover of Bulls on Parade.
Denzel Curry.
Yeah, we have Queensryche being done over by PledgeMusic.
Which is fitting considering we're talking about how PledgeMusic have been ruining people.
Yeah. Doyle Wolfgang von Frankenstein of the Misfits fame, talking about meet and greets.
I mean, who would pay money to meet him? But okay, fair enough. Maybe he's doing them a favour by not liking that.
Yeah, Phil Demmel talking about Rob Flynn being an egomaniac. I've not actually read the story.
That's quite interesting.
But the headline of that would suggest that. Joe Perry talking about his long-awaited Gibson signature, which is the best of the Stratocaster and the best of the Les Paul, apparently. Yeah.
That's so good, isn't it?
Probably should have led with this one. There's a Dumble OD50 Overdrive Special for sale. Our listeners probably will have wanted to know that right at the start, and a link so they can all go and buy it.
When I viewed
it's going to
it
be a
early,
race. It's going to be one of our listeners that's going to get this, isn't it?
I hope so. When I viewed it earlier, I showed it to. I was trying to show it to Levi. There was a bit at the bottom that said, "Hurry! 2 people have already put it in their basket in the last hour." I'm like, well, maybe they didn't check the fucking price, but we'll come back to that.
Ja Rule, Fyre Festival 2.
This one's pure gossip, but it's also funny. Like,
Yeah. Well, I've
Crackpot.
not actually read the story. It's probably won't be the case that it's been presented as that he's announced something, but then I can also see that TMZ spoke to him in an airport. So,
exactly that. That's what I'm saying. It's pure gossip. Like that. It's a funny one though.
the Klon, the Centaur, and misleading article titles. We love pointing out misleading article titles. Some stuff about Rosewood, and Nate Mendel being a big HIV and AIDS denier.
Which is pretty fucked.
Yeah, that's the big bad one, isn't it?
Yeah. Will we dive in with the Dumble then?
Yeah, if you want, let's do that.
Let's do it.
Cool.
So, Levi and I have a kind of group chat / page on Facebook where we both kind of admin, and we send links of stuff for the podcast. And anything that comes up that's interesting, we'll go on there and we'll talk about it on there, and we kind of select things and then veto things depending on what they are. So Levi put the link on for this on Reverb for the Dumble OD50 Overdrive Special 1984, and I had guessed the figure for what it would probably be selling for in a ridiculous manner, and when I clicked it, it was twice as much as what I thought it should be, which is fucking insanity. Now, we might as well be talking about the heritage first, because I think that's what kind of gives it the... Well, it doesn't give it, but it adds to the ridiculous price. So... This was personally owned by Billy Joe Armstrong from Green Day. It was then purchased from him by Joe Bonamassa. Joe used this extensively on the road and on albums, none listed. This also comes with the original speaker. This is one of the best celebrity-owned sounding Dumble amps we've heard in a long time. Excellent condition. I mean, how many do you have to AB? I don't believe that for the case, but then again, they're trying to sell something.
I also like the where is it? One of the best celebrity-owned. Aren't most Dumbles celebrity-owned?
The only celebrity that doesn't own one is Dumble himself, and he's a celebrity.
You know, Dave Jones that plays in your local pub covers band probably doesn't have an Overdrive Dumble Overdrive Special kicking around.
To be fair, man, sometimes you go to those pub gigs and you see guys that have got like $4,000 PRSs running through like a rack mount Triple Crown with like the most ridiculous effects units and these like...
Yep, and they still need
ported cabs and stuff.
10 of those to match the cost of this.
Exactly, but even then you're kind of overplaying. But yeah, it's nowhere near the figure of this. So
as always, what I would suggest to people that are watching this, drop a little comment down below with your guess on how much this costs. Because when we reveal it in a few minutes' time or 60 seconds' time, you'll have a record of just how wrong you were. Because no one can anticipate how expensive this thing is. The thing I always find really interesting about stuff like this is you often see like Eric Johnson guitars for sale. Someone's like, oh, this was Eric Johnson's Strat or whatever. In that situation, you have to look at that and say, well, it must be a stinker. It must be. If it was a good one,
why'd they get rid of it?
Eric wouldn't have got rid of it. It would just be in his collection. It's not like he's struggling for space. So this was owned by Joe Bonamassa, and he's elected to get rid of it.
And Billy Joe Armstrong, who got rid of it to Joe Bonamassa.
Yeah. Why would you get rid of it? I just don't understand. If it's as good as you seem to be suggesting it is, why on earth would you get rid of it? It just makes no sense whatsoever.
Unless Joe just wants to buy more horrible guitars.
We could make an offer on it.
Exposure. We will talk about it on the podcast.
Paid in exposure. So, yeah, there you go. It's 1984. And how much is it then? And the price will be revealed as that's a lot of numbers. You can see there's a lot of numbers there. £79,006.19, and they won't even ship it. Local pickup only.
£79,000 for a fucking amp.
Yeah.
Oh man, the mind boggles, doesn't it?
That's a lot of money, and of course, a large portion of our listeners are American. So let me just do the conversion. Are you scratching your ass or
fixing my keys? Sorry,
okay.
It looks like I'm trying to play with myself. So when Levi put the link up, I thought, right, what's a ridiculous figure for a guitar amp? I mean, it's a Dumble. It's going to be something silly. 40 grand. And then I opened it and just went fuck off and shut the link. Like that's how bad it was when I seen it. I'm like, nah, you're at it. No way.
That is obscenely expensive. So
my keys are now fused to my back pocket somehow. I think this might be me forever. Well, I need to live life as the bum key guy. $102,185.35.
$102,000 for that amp. That is a lot of money.
Yes, that's far more than any guitar amp should ever be selling for, especially one that's been owned by Joe Bonamassa and Billy Joe Armstrong.
Yeah. So, what do you think about stuff like that, like artist-owned gear? Is that something that is of appeal to you, or?
If I had a lot of money to play with and it was specific artists, maybe I would pay more. But it doesn't add any mojo to me, in my mind, unless it's something that was like completely, undeniably like part of music history.
Yeah, so like
Dave Gilmour's Blackie.
Exactly.
That's the kind of thing you go, right, well, everybody knows that guitar. It's almost household.
Yeah. Well, for me, there's definitely like an appeal of something that's owned by and played by someone that you love and enjoy, but it also, to me, doesn't add any value to the instrument.
It shouldn't cost more.
There will probably come a point where like Scotty Anderson is going to need to get rid of his tellies.
And you're just going to have to buy some?
And I would be up for owning one of them. But it just doesn't push it into the territory of worth more than your average American telly.
No, I know.
Yeah, and we had we kind of talked about this before when we looked at the that Mastodon guy.
Yeah,
I forget which if it was Brent.
Yeah, it was Brent Hines, I'm sure.
Yeah, had a reverb store of selling his gear. Marty Friedman did the same as well, and it's that age old principle of I owned this guitar, I'm famous, therefore it's worth twice as much as it would normally be worth. And yeah, just to me, they're just not.
That's not musical heritage. Blackie is musical heritage because everybody knows who Pink Floyd is.
Yeah, and I always throw in that extra level of skepticism of like I said, why are you selling it? If it's great, why are you selling it? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I won't. I'll try not to fall for that stuff. That is an exceptionally expensive amp. I won't be buying it. Not just because it's expensive, and not just because it was owned by a couple of famous people. It's crazy expensive. But do you know what else is crazy expensive?
This silly sausage here, the Klon Centaurs, and what they seem to go for second hand on the market. It's silly money. Have you
tried one?
I haven't. I've never tried one. Have you?
Yep.
You've got a Klon, haven't you?
No, but I have friends that own them.
Oh, okay, yeah. Fair enough. What do you think of them? It's a pedal.
It's a nice pedal. It's a maybe $300 pedal.
Okay, right, okay, fair enough. Yep.
Certainly don't look at it and go, oh my. This is something incredible. It's just a nice pedal. Yeah. I think the tagline for this article kind of gives you what you need to know about this pedal, describing it as a mythical overdrive pedal. It's hype, it's mystique that's around something like this.
Of course it is, and that's how it's always been. Like, there's a long list of artists who use the Klon Centaur, none of which I know, but as soon as one comes up for sale, that list gets whapped out quickly.
Yeah.
It's all smoke and mirrors to make it more desirable.
And the mad thing about it is it's not done by the owner. It's not done by the guy that built them. It was totally the second-hand market that just pushed the value of these up.
Much like the black machines.
Yeah, I was just going to say exactly that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's the deal with those? Do you know what the deal is with those nowadays? Is Doug still making them?
Doug does still make them, but he's very selective in who he builds for. I think the only person I've saw that he builds guitars for regularly is Leah Woodward from Aliases.
Okay.
And she's got like 4 or 5, maybe more.
Okay.
She's got the silliest amount of studio gear I've ever seen.
He was at the or is at the Birmingham Guitar Show, which is this coming
Really?
weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, it's this coming weekend because I can't go.
He can't go, and I won't go. I'd go, but I did a video talking about it. Like I made some recommendations of people that you should absolutely go down. But yeah, this is my job now, so I don't go to things unless it's work.
If we could make it, we'd go down and visit our good friends at Rev. That'd be good.
Yeah, well, it's not Rev. It's their UK distributor.
Is it? Okay. Yeah. Who's the UK distributor? Do you know?
Derek did tell me, and I wasn't sure who they were. So yeah. The problem with a show like that, when you look at the list of brands that are there, more often than not, it's actually a distributor that happens to have 6 or 7 brands, and rather than listing the distributor, they list 6 or 7 brands that are going to be there.
So who's been represented, not the representer? Yeah, I get you. That's fair enough.
So
anyway,
still, it's worth going down. If you can get to Birmingham at the weekend, you will. It's all about just shaking hands, catching up with old friends, watching some cool people play some music,
try some new gear.
Yeah, exactly.
Make some noise. That's my favourite.
Yeah, and support the scene for shows like that, because we want things like that to be bigger again.
Absolutely. I think Birmingham's the only one now in the UK.
Yeah. There were always problems organising when I was helping to run the Guitar Idol competition. It was always advertised that the finals are held at the UK's leading music show, and they struggled to put the competition on year because there just wasn't a show for it to be on. The last one that was at a big show ended up having to be an acoustic guitar show. Yeah, the live final was at an acoustic guitar show, and now they just have to hire a venue and do it, and it'd be shit. So.
I think it's better that they hire a venue, though. It's less of a unfair compromise.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the Klon. So
Yes.
Bill Finnegan is building them, and this is the misleading title. You can buy the Klon Centaur direct from Bill Finnegan again for $2,000.
Thanks, Music Radar. Thanks for that. Fake news.
Yeah, not strictly true. It seems that what happened is he's making a few here and there. He's putting them on eBay. It's a combination of the two, isn't it? Like, obviously, he wanted as much as he could get for it, which is why he put it on eBay to let the market decide how much they were going to pay for it.
Yep.
And he put a starting price of $100. He could easily have put this on eBay, buy it now for $500, and it would have sold. But this has worked out really well for him. Put it up for $100. 27 bids later, it sold for $2,026. So I would imagine that he's probably going to make a few more of those.
Well, I love that. His statement on it is now on a small scale. I am again hand building a few Centaur units for sale by my company, Klon LLC. Given the many demands of my time these days, and also given the labour-intensive and time-consuming nature of building Centaurs, it's inevitable that I will be able to build only a small number of these units, but I hope and expect to continue to be able to do so on a regular basis for some years to come. So basically what he's saying is, I'm going to build as many as I can, but cock tease you so you pay as much as you can.
Yeah, that is such a crock of shit. It really, really is. Given the many demands on my time these days, I'm sorry, the demands on you... How long does it take for you to build one of these?
Well, just as long as it takes him to build his own clones, the KTRs, which he sells for $300.
Yeah.
So he's not really that bothered.
I would imagine that it's going to take you a few hours tops to build one of these. But let's be really generous. Let's say that you are high-level incompetent at building, right? Let's say that the magic part of the Klon Centaur is that you don't actually solder them with a soldering iron. You hire... you go down to your local Walmart and pick up Mexican workers, and you use funnels, and you get them all to go and blow hot air,
Right.
and you direct that hot breath to solder components together. Maybe that's what they do.
You are off on a tangent today, but I love it, sir.
I
Keep
am on
going.
a tangent. Let's say that worst case scenario, you can make one of these a day.
Right.
Right. If you're selling them for $2,000 each, right? What the hell are these other demands on your time? What are they? I don't see it. There is nothing stopping this man clearing 10 grand a day in Klon Centaurs. When I don't care what other stuff you have going on, stop doing it.
I'll tell you what there is that's stopping him clearing 10 grand a day in Klon Centaurs. If there's too many on the market, the demand is met with supply. He needs to keep it limited, which is why he says very clearly, I will be able to build only a small number of these units.
Yeah.
No, you won't. You could build them on a grand scale and sell them for fucking the original price of $300 odd and still make an absolute fortune, but that's not what you want.
I think that's really the way to go. I think make a lot of them, because it must annoy him that his pedals on the second-hand market sell for as much as they do.
Which is why he came right in and went, well, why don't you buy just direct from me and you can have one that's authentically made. You'll be the first owner and it'll still be limited.
Yeah. Certainly an interesting one. I would have no interest in owning one, though.
If anyone has one and wishes to absolutely sell its benefits to us, please let us know. Or if you've seen any good reviews, I'd be interested in having a wee look. I mean, it just, to me, seems like an overdrive pedal with a treble boost. And I think they're known for being quite mid-range punchy.
Yeah.
But turn the mids up. It's the same thing.
No, I mean, it's like what you get out of a tube screamer. You know, you can't just, it's not just a case of, oh, just EQ the amp and it will sound like you got that tube screamer there. It changes your sound.
Yeah, okay.
Like I say, cool pedals, but there's tons of pedals like that on the market, and more importantly, there's tons of clones on the market. And the thing with a clone is it's the same as the original, isn't it? It's not the original, but it's the same as the original.
Yeah.
It's not like people look at this metal box and they go, I wonder what's inside. We'll never know. Yeah, you can get a good clone of these. So, Bill, no thanks, buddy. Actually, my other issue with the Klon Centaur is how fucking big it is. There's no reason for a pedal to be that big. A 3-knob pedal to be as big as that.
All the magic components inside it.
Yeah, get that in the bin.
You're right.
Yeah. So another news story, and I actually really like this one. This one shows a lot of promise, right? So Rosewood could return to low-cost guitars this year. A new proposal to exempt Rosewood instruments from CITES is underway.
Which should have, I mean, CITES should never have happened, but...
CITES should have happened, but it should have been for wood over a certain weight, I think.
Yeah, or endangered strains.
Yeah.
I think most rosewood is ethically sourced or sustainably sourced.
Right.
Anyway, sorry, continue.
Yeah, the amount of rosewood that appears on a guitar is so minimal compared to the furniture that's coming out of China.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's less than a kilo of wood, no problem. That's the way that should be, I think. Yeah, it's what makes sense to me. But, you know, such is life. I think I kind of learnt this one myself just recently, because when the Fender Acoustasonic, I think they called it that, they had ebony boards on them, but they weren't what you expect, you know, the traditional black, beautiful black ebony. And when I pointed that out, I didn't say that's not ebony. What I said in the video is that's not what you want it to look like. You know, find a better example for your photos. And lots of smart people came in and said, Levi, don't you know that that's what ebony actually looks like? That's what 90% of ebony actually looks like. The stuff that you're thinking of is just the stuff that more traditionally is used, but that's only about 10% of ebony wood. And I'm like, right?
That's the stuff that gets traditionally used. Yeah. That's what I'm expecting.
Yeah. Does my point not still stand? I want the black ebony. Like that's what I expect. Like I don't have ebony on a guitar for the tone.
No, that's true.
You know, it's there because
that's what the paint's for.
It's there because I like the look of it. So yeah, this streaky ebony. No, thank you. And Rosewood is it's an iconic look. And although I don't take issue with like when Gibson were using, was it Richlight? Which was painted and baked maple, I believe, like stained and baked. I had that on an SG and it was fine. But fine, no complaints with it. It had the look. It did what it needed to do. I don't want an SG with a maple fingerboard on it. It won't look right. I want that iconic cherry red SG with the Rosewood board and those inlays on it. So, but when I say Rosewood board, it doesn't need to be Rosewood. It just needs to look exactly like Rosewood. So, having said that, it would be nice if they could bring Rosewood back as an option.
And that seems to be what they're aiming for at the moment. This was on Music Radar 13 days ago. Excuse me.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens because obviously at this stage it's merely a suggestion that's been put forward by a lobbying coalition.
Yeah.
So the downside, of course, to this will be that if this happens, guitars with Rosewood on will just be more expensive and they'll be bought back as finally Rosewood returns. You'll have to pay a little bit more for it, but it is here. You can have it if you want it.
We'll just need to wait and see.
Yeah.
You're such a skeptic. Can't say I blame you.
Yeah, I just go on experience, you know. People like to bend me over. My wife in particular. Yeah.
That's not financially.
Do you think there's something wrong with being skeptical?
No, absolutely not. I think it's part of critical rationale.
Do you know who else is skeptical?
Who else is skeptical? Nate Mendel. That's a very good segue.
Whoa!
This guy's getting better every time.
Like a professional, again.
Almost.
Going to keep being my word. Word of the day, professionalism.
Yeah.
So, over the past couple of episodes, we have talked about conspiracy theorists, just to a small degree. We obviously talked about the anti-vaxxers. Those are fun. I see the measles outbreak that's happened in the state. They found patient zero, as it were.
Oh, that's good.
Or patient zero clue, as it's more likely to be.
I mean that's very, very accurate.
Yeah,
that poor child.
Yeah. Who wants their autism's bad, but not as bad as growing up.
Well, that's it. I don't even want to get into it.
Rather have a dead child than one that can win in casinos.
Fucking hell. To be fair though, it does speak volumes about how ignorant these people are. They would rather not have a child than have a child who has slight learning difficulties. You know what I mean? Like, is that how vain and shallow you are? That is your bigger concern?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's not delve into it. So Mark McGlinchey sent us a message. Thank you very much, Mark.
Yeah.
After talking about anti-vaxxers and just people
and Tom DeLonge.
Exactly, just nut jobs. And he says, what about Nate Mendel? He is a outspoken critic of HIV, and he denies that HIV and AIDS exists.
Well, it's more, from reading into it, it's that his point is that he doesn't believe that there's a correlation between HIV and AIDS.
Oh, sorry, right, okay.
HIV is not the cause of AIDS.
Okay, so he just doesn't like science then?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Exactly what it is. I wasn't even aware that this was a thing.
Neither was I.
So I'm here on Wikipedia, and of course, when you're reading on Wikipedia, anything that it links to another page is in blue, and HIV/AIDS denialism is in blue. Like, that's a thing. And
wait, the best part's the first part of the sentence. HIV/AIDS denialism is the belief, contradicted by conclusive medical and scientific evidence, that human immunodeficiency virus HIV does not cause acquired immune deficiency syndrome, AIDS. It's just how right away they're like, this person is stupid.
Yeah.
I love it. Fucking love it.
Yeah, absolutely horrifying that's a thing, but it's the same type. Well, evidently not the same, because this isn't prevalent enough for me to know that this is a big deal. In the same way that like vaccines seem to be. Like I just assumed that the vaccine thing was very much like the flat Earth thing, whereby a lot of the people that were involved in the flat Earth thing were in it for the lulz, if you like.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But actually, the more you look into the flat Earth world, the more you find that actually a lot of them, they're genuine. There's a lot of genuine believers.
Yeah, and I think the reason for the genuine belief is that if they can lie to you about something as non-consequential as the Earth being flat, what else are they lying to you about? as if that's like like I don't know, some sort of signpost that the government is controlling you and they don't want you to have any like autonomy mentally and all this kind of stuff. It's fucking total. See how far the rabbit hole goes. Madness.
Yeah.
Like, it's just why.
Yeah, it's it just leaves me speechless. It really does, and sad for the future. But again, it's more confirmation of that idea that vaccines cause anti-vaxxers. We need to just let stupid people get on with it and just let them all go play in the road.
Yeah, I mean, I would be all for people not getting vaccinated if it were they were adults and they could make an informed choice. But this is people doing it for children who have no say, with complete disregard for the child's safety. Like, not that long ago, I saw a thing shared, sorry to go off on a tangent again, on Facebook, and it was a mother in an anti-vax group saying, "Oh, my 3-year-old son is not vaccinated and there's been an outbreak of measles at his school. What can I do to keep him safe?" And the comments on it were fucking ridiculous. Like, leave a pot of water outside, dance around it 3 times, singing "It's Raining Men," then go counterclockwise and do the same thing again. Go in and bless him with a stick of kale and throw your shoes out the window. Then he will be cured. I mean, like, people just blatantly taking the piss out of it. Like, if you didn't want your son to contract measles, you should have given him the vaccine that stops measles.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah. Yeah, but Mike, you can't deny the fact that there's been a significant rise in autism, and it happens to have coincided with the rise in the amount of people that we vaccinate.
You mean causation and correlation are the same thing?
Yeah, totally. Oh, mate, I've just had a realisation, though. Autism's gone up, but so has internet usage.
That's it.
Do you think the internet causes autism? Based on some of the fucking websites I see, I think there's a lot more likelihood that the internet causes autism than yeah, I don't know why Sue's phoning me. The internet causes autism. I think she heard us talking about autism, was just thinking about her fiance. What have you got to say about my man? Anyway, I'm going to read this. So, yes. Nate Mendel is outspoken about his fringe views on HIV and AIDS. In January 2000, he organised a sold-out concert in LA to benefit Alive and Well AIDS Alternatives, an HIV and AIDS denialism group. In April 2000, MTV News reported that the Foo Fighters have gone on record advocating Alive and Well, an alternative AIDS information group that questions the link between HIV and AIDS. Sandra Thurman, then director of the Office of National AIDS Policy, commented, "For the Foo Fighters to be promoting this extraordinarily irresponsible behaviour. There is no doubt about the link between HIV and AIDS in the respected scientific community, and it's quite unfortunate that a band reads one book and then adopts this theory to say that HIV does not cause AIDS. It's akin to saying that the world is flat." Responding to the coverage of the Alive and Well benefit in, is that Mother Jones magazine?
Mm-hmm.
Mendel wrote, "I am not a medical professional.
Duh.
And I am relatively new to these questions.
Duh.
But I am convinced that those who have tested HIV positive and those sick with AIDS are being done a disservice by not having all of the information available to them. The Foo Fighters no longer lists Alive and Well as a supported charity on their website as of 2008.
So, I think what's probably happened there is Nate Mendel has suggested this charity. The guys haven't looked into it going, charity work's always good. They've then had this backlash and Dave's went, "Are you for real, Nate? Are you a fucking nut job? What are you doing?" Click delete. I hope. I fucking hope.
I just... speechless. I just absolutely speechless.
There's not much to say, is there? Like,
there's lots of quotes of the Foo Fighters have gone on record, and for the Foo Fighters to be promoting this, it's their bass player. Yep. And I like the Foo Fighters. They've got a lot of good songs. I didn't know what their bass player's name was until today.
Nate Mendel. I think the problem is that the Foo Fighters clearly had it on their website as a supported charity, so that's why she's saying they were clearly advocating Alive and Well as a charity, which could have been conscious or unconscious? It might have been Nate put that forward and no one challenged it because they didn't realise the repercussions, or...
The Foo Fighters is Dave Grohl. It was started out as a solo project, right?
Yep. Recorded everything in the first album yourself.
Yeah. So until I see Dave Grohl denying HIV and AIDS, I would say that this is an unfortunate clerical error on the band's part. Solely down to Nate Mendel. What an idiot, though. What an absolute... absolute idiot. That one just knocked me for six.
I love these. His quote's brilliant. I'm not a medical professional. Like, we know that.
Yeah.
And I'm relatively new to these questions. Like, is that because you have no real understanding of how HIV and AIDS are linked, and that you're ignoring the science because you read one book? Yeah. And then it goes on to say, like, people are having a disservice by not having the information or all the information available to them. Like, you are literally ignoring all the information available to you to make a point that people don't have information. What are you talking about? You fucking nutjob. Good Lord.
I feel that this is a difficult one because I feel that I owe the world the decency of reading the things that he has read. I feel that I should read these things to at least see what the perspective is.
That's what we'll do next week. Instead of getting Total Guitar magazines, we'll just get Alive and Well and we'll read through that.
Yeah. That'd be a good one. Because I just can't imagine what possible angle they have. Because we know that people with HIV will often develop into people with AIDS, right? We know that. There's no denying that. But they must be suggesting that there's another reason for that. And it's not the HIV issue. That there's something else that causes this. And I think that if Nate Mendel is that confident about this, why doesn't he put his money where his mouth is and take a jab with an HIV-infected needle? Because he should know enough to never, ever contract AIDS.
Well, I think he's probably not worried about getting AIDS, but he's probably worried about getting HIV. So I'd imagine that's why he's not done that so far. Yeah, okay. Aye, but fuck it. Go for it.
Shocking. What an absolute pleb. So, yeah, what's going to be our next big conspiracy theory? We'll get our listeners to send in the people. I know what it's going to be. And unfortunately, this is the worst part of all of it, right? I bet this one, when I make this suggestion, we will have a lot of people go, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy.
What are you going to do?
Holocaust deniers.
Oh, no.
Because that's another big one, isn't it?
I just don't understand it. How can you deny it? It's quite blatant that it happened. And then there's always one smart ass, oh, they're not denying that it happened. They're just saying that they want to question the numbers. They don't believe they add up. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
Like the numbers make a difference. Yeah, all right. It wasn't 6 million. It was 10,000. That's all right then.
But if they've got the numbers wrong, they've probably got them wrong in the low end, because there were so many people died in the concentration camps before they had tattooed their names, but they just had a number in uniforms, that it was very hard to identify who they were and when they passed away. And the fact they were processing, which is the most horrendous term to use for any sort of human, is they were processing people into those camps. Like, nah. It's a big number that's hard to fathom. I understand that, right? And some people are quite sceptical, and that's fine. You're allowed to be sceptical. But there's things where you just need to maybe back off a bit, in my opinion.
I can't really argue with that. I think you should back off on stuff like that, not because stuff like that shouldn't be questioned. I know it offends people to question stuff like that, but you should back off on that because you're wrong.
Aye,
you're just wrong. Yeah, just wrong. Like I say, even if the numbers are way off and it's actually just 10,000,
so what?
That's still really bad.
Yep.
It's still
That's still a fucking atrocity.
Yeah, people being put to death because of the more often than not because of the family you were born into, not even because of your beliefs, but literally like it's a racial thing, isn't it? So
it's just horrendous. I mean, the way I see it is, would these people still be giving it the sceptical chat if someone turned around and said the amount of people that died in 9/11 has been grossly misunderstood and exaggerated? I'm pretty sure they'd all go, oh, I'm not fucking commenting on that because that's fucking stupid. That's how you sound to anyone with any sort of brain cells.
Yeah. So there you go. There's a challenge, listeners. See if you can find me a notable guitar player or famous rock musician or whatever.
Black metal musicians fucking turn it up to come on.
Exactly, yeah.
Chat up your door. Let us in, let us in. Oh, fuck you.
Yeah.
Take your corpse paint and go home.
Well, I think we've already got a lot of a following in that scene anyway, just because of the sheer amount of times. I mean, just last episode when we were talking about Slipknot and I was throwing up an OK, just constantly wanking off a midget. Remember that? That was a good one.
Stop it. Stop it with your wolf whistles.
Yes.
Is it dog whistles? Wolf whistles? I can't
whistles.
remember. Whatever the fuck it's called. Anyway, who cares?
Yeah. So, cool. I think, was it last episode we talked about Fyre Festival?
We spoke about it last twice, I think, because it's such a good thing. We really covered it fully, I believe, episode 27, and we mentioned it again on the last episode, as far as I remember.
Yeah, so good opportunity to remind people, if you've not watched the Fyre Fest documentary on Netflix, go and watch it.
It will blow your dick off.
There's one on Amazon as well, I'm told. I've not watched that one yet.
Oh, I've not seen that one. I didn't even know it was there.
A different perspective on things. So not like, a different story, but done in a different way.
Oh, okay, yeah. Right.
So, I should probably give that one a go.
That'll be interesting.
And it seems to be like a reasonable split, maybe 60-40 on people that prefer the Netflix one over the Amazon one. So it's not like clearly one is the best. So that's well worth watching, the Fyre Fest documentary.
Absolutely. I mean, just... you won't believe half the things that happen. It's the only way I can describe it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So after all of that, Ja Rule has announced to TMZ that there are plans for Fyre Fest 2.0.
That's just fucking outrageous, man.
So tell me more, Mike.
This one is pure gossip, and that's what I love about it, right? So, TMZ, being the steadfast and incredible journalist that they are, very stringent, they caught, in their own words, Ja Rule at an LAX airport and questioned him about the infamous Fyre Festival documentaries. This has been read from tonedeaf.thebrag.com. Unsure what that is, but obviously the source is TMZ. When he was asked about the Fyre Festival experience, Ja Rule shared, "It's not funny to me, it's heartbreaking to me. It's something that I wanted to be special and amazing, and it didn't turn out that way." I mean, before we go any further, it must have been special and amazing to you, just parting with all those models, making the promo shot, and actually having the only Fyre Festival of the full fucking scenario. Yeah. You guys were really partying. Don't talk shit. And then the next comment is, which would almost elicit sympathy if you had not followed it up with an entrepreneurial spiel. "In the midst of chaos, there's opportunity," shared Ja Rule. "It, Fyre Festival, is the most iconic festival that never was. I have plans to create the iconic festival, but you didn't hear that from me." Oh, I can't wait. You done so well with the first one, didn't you?
So
fuck off, Ja.
I actually do find this quite interesting, because I don't even know if you could call this gossip. Because if that's a direct quote, and it's been presented in that way, then it's not like initially when I saw that it was at an airport, TMZ had cornered him at an airport, I had imagined what was going to happen was a TMZ reporter was going to say something along the lines of, "Hey, Ja, that Fyre Festival was an absolute disaster. You going to do another one?" And he went, yeah, got it on the go now, kind of thing.
Well, in the interest of bias, it doesn't say what questions he asked, or where he were asked, whether it was a leading question or not. And it's definitely gossip, because that's saying he's announced plans for Fyre Fest 2. He's just said, "I have plans to create the iconic festival, but you didn't hear that from me." Yeah. That could be him just talking shit to big himself up. He's not announced anything. He's not said he wants to create Fyre Festival 2. He said he wants to create the festival the most iconic festival that never was. I think he's talking about his arse.
Well, what we can conclude from this is the Fyre shit show. The dumpster fire, if you like.
Dumpster fire's a good one.
Yeah. Maybe that's what they should call it. Dumpster fire. The dumpster fire isn't over yet.
No.
There will be more to...
A friend of a friend on Instagram shared the orange tile just the other day, and I was killing myself laughing. For those that have seen it, you'll understand it. Those that haven't, that's an in-joke. Yeah. You're not part of the cool clique. You won't know about it just yet.
Ja Rule's not part of the cool clique, is he?
No, Ja Rule's a man that likes to try and make money.
Every time I see him, I just think of him in Fast and Furious.
I never watched the Fast and Furious films. No. The only one I've ever watched was Fast and Furious 2, Tokyo Drift. And that was
the third one.
That's the third one. Sorry, right. Well, Fast and Furious 3 then shows how much I know about them. I watched that with Craig, the guitarist for Party Cannon, and Chris when we were in Germany, roughly 2 years ago. 2 years ago last week, recording the last EP. That was basically our entertainment. Was that, and
Not a very entertaining film.
it was not. It's not for me. Hence why I've never seen them before or any other ones at all. I don't get the appeal in cars that somehow have 35,000 gears and NOS and super turbos, and I don't know.
I love them though. I think they're all thoroughly entertaining films. In the same way that like Arnold Schwarzenegger action films from the 90s are ridiculous because guns don't hold that many bullets.
Eraser. That's my favourite.
I was watching when I was in Air at the weekend. I was about to go to bed, and the last 2/3 of Total Recall were on.
Oh, what a film!
Yeah, and I was just like, well.
Get your ass to Mars.
I'll go through that one because it's great. But that's exactly what Fast and the Furious is to me. It's ridiculous, silly, not to be taken seriously, just a big spectacle.
Aye.
Tokyo Drift, not a good one. Anyway, Ja Rule appears in the first one in that, loses a race and loses his woman, and I will just forever remember him shouting, "Monica!" Dreadful. Absolute monstrosity.
Maybe Ja Rule's going to have a Total Recall themed festival. That'll be the next one. I bet you thought this was the real Ja Rule. It is.
He's teamed up with Elon Musk.
They're both off the deep end.
The Total Recall Festival. It's going to be on Mars. Elon Musk is going to get you there.
That's it. Tesla transport.
Oh, yeah, fantastic. So
that's enough of that.
Fyre Fest, what a monstrosity.
Yes, speaking of monstrosities.
Yeah. Oh, you see, you're getting the segue thing down, my man. Getting it down. Joe Perry reckons that his long-awaited signature Gibson is the best of the Stratocaster and the best of the Les Paul.
Long-awaited? I don't think anybody's been waiting on one of these, Joe. I'm sorry. But you obviously have yourself nice and excited for...
We can react to this.
These... you know my reaction before you've seen it. That is a gold top Les Paul single pickup with a fucking trem.
Hey everybody, this is just a quick audio clip just to let you know that there is no sound on the Joe Perry video, unfortunately, and that's because when I initially uploaded it, it was immediately flagged for copyright, because despite the fact that we're using a video that Joe Perry made in order to promote his own guitar, and we are talking about it in order to promote said guitar, yeah, apparently that was valid for a copyright strike, and although the clip was only 22 seconds in a 2-hour video, yeah, Cobalt Music thought that they owned that, so fuck those guys, fuck Joe Perry, back to your regular show. Okay, and it's like a vintage, well, not vintage trem,
Wilkinson?
but a 2-point trem. It's not a Floyd.
I don't see everybody really buzzing or excited for it. Like, that guy's brought his dog to work. That's how little anyone gives a fuck. What a beautiful guitar. It's only failed in the stair twice.
So no locking nut.
Joe Perry, more like no Perry.
Oh, very good. Yeah, I don't really see how that's the best of the Stratocaster. Because to me, the best part of the Stratocaster is not the tremolo system.
What's the best part of a Strat to you?
The neck pickup. And those two position 2 and 4.
The in-betweens.
Yeah. So... and the scale length compared to the Gibson.
I haven't read this full article. Do you know what the price is on this?
I don't.
Let's have a laugh.
It won't be listed.
Did he even tell you?
No, it won't be listed. Shocking.
Will we Google it quickly? See what's said?
It won't be announced yet.
No, I think so. No. Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's just a Les Paul. It's a Les Paul gold top with a single pickup and a tremolo in it.
A Wilkinson trem.
So
for all you purists out there that don't want a Les Paul that's been thinned down, it looks like it's quite a narrow body to accommodate the trem block at the bottom, and it's obviously been hollowed out to fit the trem as well. So bin, and bin.
I like the fact that he claims he's been working on it for 3 years.
just moving the knob back and forth at like a millimetre at a time. Nah, you've not got. That's not right that yet, guys. You need to move it 1 more mil.
So he made reference to it in an interview with them from 2015. So it's actually more like 4 years.
But
And is that because it took 4 years to develop, or because it took 4 years to get Gibson to actually, build something acceptable?
it took 4 years for him to get all the names on the petition that you had to take to Gibson to show that people were interested in it.
Yeah.
And even then, it was only half signed.
Cool. Let's skip on from that. So Phil Demmel opens up about Machine Head's split, says that the band became a Rob Flynn solo project and that he wasn't a fan of Catharsis.
Pretty much.
So I'll leave this one to you.
Cool. So, as anyone who's followed it will know, as of last year, both Phil and Dave McLean quit the band quite suddenly. We actually covered it. I think it might have been about 10 episodes ago. Maybe more or less. I'm not sure exactly. But anyway.
Probably not that far back. But yeah, we certainly talked about it.
So, that basically the two of them left, which was very unexpected. Obviously, Machine Head have been Machine Head, quite a solid lineup for years and years. I believe Dave McLean's the only person that's kind of been out and back in. Might be talking nonsense. Anyway, Phil Demmel's then obviously talking about how it went on and what happened, and his motivations for leaving. And speaking about the 2018 release Catharsis, which I've not heard, I hate the last record. There's moments of what I wrote that I like. I wrote most of the music to California Bleeding, but then Rob wrote the lyrics on top of it. And I just wish that me and Dave talk about it like, fuck, I wish I could take my riffs back. No, that isn't what we want to use them for. So he's obviously not very happy about that. And he says along the lines of, it just became a Rob Flynn solo project, and that isn't what I signed up for. And the last few years were basically collecting a paycheck, and I just couldn't do that. The stress and all the talks and all the can't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't stand there, don't say this, don't sing the words to the audience, don't point. That to me sounds fucking terrible. Like, I'd hate to be so restricted playing.
It doesn't surprise me. I had always imagined that that's what Machine Head would be.
It seems to go that. It seems to have went that way. I think from Through the Ashes of Empires, it went from being you seen Machine Head to you seen Rob Flynn talking about Machine Head.
Right.
And then the only times you've really seen like Phil Demmel was more so when he was talking about his signature guitar, when he was doing master classes and doing things that were promoting the band, not him specifically. You know what I mean? Whereas Rob was always more focused on him being out there. Even like the Phil Anselmo thing, if you remember that. No, Phil Anselmo embarrassingly showed his racist roots yet again at a show where he was drinking and Sieg-Heiled and shouted white power. It was a Pantera tribute thing a couple of years ago. And then Rob did a video.
He's probably our Holocaust denier.
That wouldn't surprise me. Rob done a video basically calling him out, like, which is fair enough, but unnecessary, because the only reason he was doing it really was for, look at me, I'm Rob, as far as I could tell. And then to promote everything else he'd done, because he just jumps on all these trends. He's quite bad for it, but it looks it. Anyway, sorry, getting back to the story. So, you're not surprised. I was kind of surprised. I wouldn't have thought it got as bad as it had. There's usually one person takes charge of a band, and that happens, but everyone else has their space, their own creative control, their influence, their input.
Do they, though?
I would say so.
How much input do you think anyone has in Megadeth?
Okay, but that's a completely different scenario.
How much input do you think anyone has in Metallica?
The Megadeth one's interesting because they basically all are hired guns. The only person in there that isn't is Dave Ellefson. And I'd imagine he's got more of a say than he did before because he's back in the band. And it's very rare for members to make it back into the band. For Metallica, you're right, it's run from...
It's James and...
run for the back, aye, it's
Lars.
fucking Lars.
Yeah.
But then again, would you want
Slayer?
Kirk Hammett running the album?
No, definitely not.
Exactly.
Slayer?
Again, chopped and changed too much.
I imagine that's Kerry and Tom. I imagine they call the shots.
Well, it need to be now because
Even
Gary Holt isn't the Slayer member really from
even when
Exodus.
Jeff was in the band.
You think so? I don't know.
What drummers have they had over the years? Who was drumming with
Dave
them?
Lombardo.
Of course, Dave.
The man.
But he's like been in and out, hasn't he? So
But I think that was for his own personal reasons because he had other side projects as well. Remember he was in that, I think it was Tomahawk with Mike Patton.
yeah, but you know, like you playing Tomahawk, you playing Slayer. There's a reason that you're not playing in Slayer, and it can't be for any reason other than the people. It just can't be.
Yeah, I get you.
And I imagine it's because Kerry and Tom call the shots.
I don't think that's true. I think... No, maybe it is. The way I see it maybe is that he didn't really fancy it. and want to do something a bit different, because there's probably only so many times you can do the get as fast as you can, and I don't mean that with any disrespect.
To an absolutely rabid audience.
Lombardo's a ridiculous drummer, but maybe he just wanted to do something a bit different, because he's a very talented player. I don't know, but then again, I think that would also come down to the conflict, because where he might have wanted to introduce that to Slayer, it could well have been vetoed right away. Okay, fair enough.
It's that, I guess that's the best way of looking at it. Like, in most bands, someone has got a supreme veto power.
Yeah.
And Rob, of course, Rob Flynn is the last port of call in Machine Head. If Rob says no, it's no.
That's it.
That doesn't surprise me at all. What I would comment on, based on what Phil has said there, is that he wishes, that they didn't have those riffs.
They could take
we
those
want our
riffs
riffs back. You can still use your riffs on other things. An example of that I always found really interesting was, did you know that Racer X and Mr. Big, both Paul Gilbert bands, they both have songs that are the same music, but with different lyrics, different vocals.
No.
Yeah. So Racer X used to play a song called Mad at the World.
Yep. Yep. Tune, by the way.
I'll mute this in the...
So I know the Racer X version. It's not good for my heart to be mad at the world.
And this is on Mr. Big's best-selling album, right?
Okay. No copyright strikes here, boys. It's almost like a reimagining of it. That's insane.
Yeah. So
for those of you that don't know the two tracks, there is Mr. Big, My Kind of Woman, and there's Racer X, Mad at the World. I believe that's on Superheroes.
Yeah, but they were playing it
well before that.
Well before they broke up. So yeah, that's I don't know how that quite works. I assume it's a case of Racer X were playing it. Then when they broke up and Paul was off doing Mr. Big, he decided to use the music again, and then Eric Martin, odd one that. Mr. Big's vocalist Eric Martin, Racer X's vocalist Jeff Martin.
Nice and easy to remember.
Yeah. I'm doubting myself on that one, but I should be right. So does My Kind of Woman with Mr. Big, and then years later when there's a Racer X reunion, clearly must have looked back at My Kind of Woman and either thought, I don't like how that came out, or let's just do that old song that we used to do. And there was never that thought of, I can't do that because someone else already has the riffs. Mr. Big has that riff.
I'm guessing they must have had a clause when they wrote the song that he retains the rights to the mechanicals then.
Publishing, yeah.
Publishing, sorry.
Yeah. Interesting one. And so anyway,
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, Phil, don't worry about it, man. Just use your riffs again. I can't. Hats off to him, because I think it doesn't matter what Phil goes on and does. It's never ever going to be a shred of the level of popularity that Machine Head is and always will be.
Yeah.
I think it takes a lot of integrity to do that, because I can criticise it, like where he says, at the end of the day, it just felt like I was collecting a paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
And most people feel like that about their jobs. There's very little passion in your job. I said it, but at the start before we started recording, your job is just what you do in between the things that you want to be doing.
But
it's the thing that facilitates the things you want to do.
I think being a touring professional musician playing original music doesn't quite fit into that criteria unless someone forces your hand to be doing that. For what he says later on is that Machine Head won't be the same without me, because there's so much of my input into albums like Through the Ashes of Empires and The Blackening, etc. They wouldn't be the albums they are if it weren't for my input. And that's not to say that makes them great or worse or whatever, but that's the fact of it. So it doesn't sound like he was ever at any point doing it just to make money. It was clearly a big part of his passion was that Machine Head was part of his life.
Yep.
And he's been in the band for, I think, for the start, which would then be, 20 years?
Long time.
Exactly. So to have to turn your back on it because the circumstances have changed, the power dynamics changed, definitely must have been hard.
Yeah, so, and I respect that. I do respect that. I think it's, to walk away from what must have been a pretty reasonable paycheck to now going into something that's going to not match it even close.
Well, I'm sure he won't be skinned. I'm pretty certain he'll still get his royalties.
Yeah. He's still going to get his publishing, but how much publishing and Machine Head making?
It's true. It's a shame as well because he does see further on into the article. He's talking about how he doesn't know if there is any badness between them or not. He doesn't know if everything's been processed and how they now stand between each other.
Yeah.
Well,
I think no matter what happens, it's never going to be as bad as Dave Mustaine and Megadeth. So there you go. That was a mildly interesting one. So the Misfits, Wolfgang. How much do you know about the Misfits?
I personally think the Misfits are a waste of time talking about, but I just thought this was an interesting article, to be quite honest. So I've heard rumours, because I don't know much about the band, that Doyle is seen as being basically just an arsehole. Like, he's not interested in the fans. He's not interested really in putting passion in it. It's more so like this could be a cash cow I can milk. I might be wrong, but I don't know. Anyway, Doyle has went...
Read it?
Let's do it. Doyle's went on the record with The Liquid Conversations, which is then transcribed by Ultimate Guitar. We're reading it from metalsucks.net. He had the following to say when asked about how the industry has changed over the years. So the question was, over the years, how has the industry changed and how have you had to adapt to it? And he says, the thing that sucks the most about it is that everybody steals music. You spend thousands and thousands of dollars to make a record and all these scumbags are just stealing it. And then they want more, and then you're a dick because you're just doing a meet and greet for 50 fucking bucks to make up for it, which you don't want to do. You think I want to meet all these fucking people? I don't. When I'm done, I just want to take a shower and go to bed. I just worked, so... which... reasonable at that point, but yeah. The following question.
Here's a tip for you: do meet and greets before the show.
Aye, or be better. Don't be a total dick. People are paying for your meet and greets because they're literally paying a lot of money to spend time with you for a couple of seconds because they want to support you.
Yeah,
they're not trying to take things off you. They're not the people stealing. They're literally supporting you, and you're shitting on them. You cunt. So the following question is, looking at that aspect, you feel that people, the fans, put some undue pressure on you because of something like that, because you charge $50 for a meet and greet? And his answer is, they can kiss my ass. You want to steal shit? If I was making motorcycles and they came and took one, would that be a crime? Why can't we punish people for stealing songs? There should be a $10,000 fine for that. I mean, there is a punishment and there are fines and it is illegal.
Yeah.
It's theft.
It's got nothing to do with the meet and greet.
Aye, you're literally shitting on the people who are trying to support you and keep your...
I can absolutely assure you, not in 100% of the cases, but 90% of the cases, the people that are going to pay $50 for a meet and greet are not the people that are stealing your music. Yep. If someone's going to steal your music, it's because they don't want to spend their money.
Let's just get even more real. If you are stealing or buying music made by the Misfits, you don't deserve to have ears.
You have bigger problems.
Yes, there are bigger issues.
Yeah. Carry on.
Which, some arsehole par. Anyway, the following question then is, the industry, certain aspects of it protect you, but a lot of it doesn't. It's weird because you put so much time and effort into it, and it's almost like people are literally stealing from you, like you said. And Doyle replied, yeah, they should really fucking fix that shit. Shut the internet down for a day and fix it. You know what? This is turning into like fucking South Park. We want more money. We want some of that internet money.
Well, I sympathise with him because it's a struggle that everyone, as musicians, have had to go through.
Mm-hmm.
And it must be hard for an old guy like him to adapt to the changing ways of things.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like you're not going to stop it. You're simply just not gonna. You're not going to stop it. There's no stopping it. You need to embrace it and adapt and move with it.
Yep. For every for every stop you put in place for technology, there will be 10 more starts.
Yeah.
That's how it works. If that's how the Pirate Bay still exists.
Yeah.
Sorry, you need to be more innovative. You need to find your money elsewhere.
Yeah.
So the next question, is with you doing your own stuff with your label, how do you approach that? And he says, how can I approach that? What can I do? As soon as somebody buys it, where is it? Somewhere it's easy for others to steal. So then the final question is, you sell it once and everybody just shares it 1,000,000 times. You mentioned Spotify. It doesn't even really matter. No one's making money from it anyway. And he says, you make nothing. It's $9 a month and you can listen to a song 10,000 times if you want. If there's enough time in that month to listen to 10,000 times, I don't know. I can't do the math. But how much do you think the bands get? It's like 100th, maybe 1,000th of a penny you get. My girlfriend, arch enemy singer Elisa White-Gluz, went to their office.
No idea.
Went to their office, said that shit was insane. I would have went fucking mental. I would have started breaking everything. You sound like a petulant child, Doyle. I want money. Wah. Be better.
Yeah, well, again, like, I can sympathise because he's coming from the perspective of what he's known, but unfortunately he grew up and came up in the industry in a time where there was more money than there should have been floating around.
Yes, way more.
The thing I find really, really short-sighted about this, or just totally missing like the thing that you should be annoyed about, is why are you so annoyed about the fans that love your music and listen to it and steal it and share it and do all of that? I appreciate that they're not putting money in your pockets by doing that, but as the economy of music has shown, there are other benefits to that. Like it drives money into the industry in other ways. Why do you not look back to 10, 20 years ago when you were making a bit of money, but the record labels, the executives at record labels were flying private jets everywhere? Why? They're people that have literally have for years just stolen your hard work, stolen it from you, taken the lion's share of your hard work.
It's the usual. It's the make the poor / middle class fight with each other, and then the rich can just disappear with whatever they want. Yeah, it happens. Like, not to share political views, but it's happening in the UK right now.
That's sharing political views.
I know. I didn't want to get into it, is my point. But anyway,
yeah.
Fuck you, Doyle. Fuck you.
Yeah, just get good.
The people that are paying you $50 a time to literally stand next to you, shake your hand and get a photo are the people who are trying to make sure you get paid. Shitting on them makes you a cunt.
Yeah, maybe it's a case that those meet and greets aren't actually very well attended. And it's not making up for it.
Regardless, if someone is giving you $50 for 5 minutes of your time, you should be sucking their dick. Not literally.
Why not?
Because it's prostitution. I mean, it depends where you are.
Yeah.
If it's a gift and you gift back, then maybe you'll get away with it. I don't know.
Yeah, what an asshole.
Ask Levi. He knows more about like loopholes and legality than I do.
He knows more about sucking dick and getting away with it. Is that what you...
That's not what I said. That's not what implied either. You can put the words in my mouth if you want.
And I can assure you that's all I'll be putting in your mouth.
That's the wrong way around.
Yeah. So,
anyway.
Yeah.
Speaking of being scammed.
Queensryche. The latest victims of PledgeMusic's inability to pay bands money owed. This shit is really starting to worry me, man.
Yep.
This is really, really worrying me. Because those of you that follow my channel outside of the Guitar Souls type thing, my channel is essentially funded by my Patreon page. Mm-hmm. And that brings in like $1,000 a month, which is nice. It's enough that I can take considerable periods of time out of work in order to make video content, which is awesome. But at the same time, like, what's his name? I forget the Patreon guy's name. All I can think of is Jack, and that's the Twitter guy's name.
The owner?
Yeah.
Patreon, is it not the dude Felix Skinny Puppy or somebody?
No. Maybe.
Okay, just now, Jack Conte.
Oh, it's Jack Conte. So who the hell is the Twitter guy? That's
Sam
another
Yam?
Jack.
Sam Yam, so the only other name associated.
What's the Twitter guy's Jack? What's Jack from Twitter's surname?
I don't know who Jack from Twitter is, I'm afraid.
Okay. Jack's the owner of Twitter.
Jack Conte?
No, not Jack Conte.
I don't know then.
I mean, you got your phone. I'm sure you could find this information.
What do you want me to look up, sorry?
Jack Twitter.
You might have a few people called Jack on Twitter.
No.
Jack Dorsey.
Yeah, Jack Dorsey. Okay. Yeah, he owns Twitter.
Yes, correct. Sorry.
So Jack Conte. I was sure it was Jack Conte, but as soon as I knew that as soon as I'd say that, the universe would change and I'd be wrong on that. But yeah, so Jack Conte has recently appeared on quite a few things. Where I think he was on the Joe Rogan show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and there's a lot of concerns going around Patreon. They've lost a lot of money after banning Sargon of Akkad.
People just decided to leave the platform because of that. Yeah.
People stopped using the platform, but not just users who were paying money into the platform.
Yeah, but the people who were
content creators.
Yeah,
big content creators like. The ones you'd expect to leave, you'd expect guys like Jordan Peterson to make a stand on something like that, and he was bringing in hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Dave Rubin left, but also guys that you don't really associate with that side of the political sphere. Sam Harris,
but I think
he left as well.
There'll be a number of people who've left not based on politics, but based on if you start to censor this person, then what happens when you decide to take my privileges away?
Absolutely,
which is fair. I think the same thing's happening with YouTube as well. A lot of content creators.
Yeah, it's a scary world. Like censorship is something that I was going to say largely against, but I'm wholly against. Like I don't think there's. We talk about the anti-vaxxers, and we're probably going to end up talking about Holocaust deniers and stuff like that. I don't think people shouldn't be allowed to have these views. I don't think they shouldn't be allowed to express these views.
No, you should be allowed to give them that just enough rope to hang themselves. I want
to know. I want to know when people have bad views like this, because I want to know who to steer clear of, and I want to know who I need to draw attention to, to point at and explain to people why they're an idiot.
Yes.
So I don't think Patreon have made wise moves, but outside of that, Jack has sort of gone on record and tried to say that Patreon, as it stands, is an unsustainable business model. An unsustainable business model. I don't understand that myself, because if your sole job is to provide a payment platform for content creators, and you take your cut, which let's, for argument's sake, say is 5%, right? How is that unsustainable? You're making 5% on whatever you manage to encourage people to spend.
They're either not managing their overheads or they're taking too much out of it.
Yeah.
That's the basis of it.
Or shareholders want more growth in the company.
No, that too, yeah. That's where it starts to drive. But that doesn't mean it's like an unsustainable business. That means you're not running it right.
Yeah, they're starting to give the impression that they're going to need to mix things up or the business won't exist years from now. And I just can't see how that could be the case, other than I don't have issues with capitalism, but I have issues with capitalist greed. Like my entire business, my entire livelihood. My livelihood! I don't know why I did that.
I don't know either.
It's a Dick Show thing. My entire livelihood relies on that sort of capitalism thing. But you can be greedy, and you can be way too greedy. You can be too much of a capitalist, where you're just trying to milk everything for everything it's worth. You're seeing in the news currently that Amazon have like $11 billion of profit in the US, and they're paying zero in federal tax.
Yep,
which is a little bit of a spin, to be honest, when you look into it. But still, even it being a little bit of a spin,
regardless of how it's spun, they're not paying their fair dues.
Yeah,
and they're getting away with it. They probably get tax cuts or grants that balance it out.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. It's not even a case of saying they're getting away with it. Like when you say someone gets away with it, that implies they've done something illegal, but they've managed to get away with it. Like they're operating within the law.
Yeah, and they're being endorsed by the government in that respect.
Yeah, so
dangerous.
That's the very definition of capitalist greed right there.
Yep.
Maximize profits for shareholders, which is shocking stuff. But so the fear is that Patreon could do that, and PledgeMusic to me is the canary in the coal mine, if you like, for that exact situation, where we reported on this a couple of episodes ago, where PledgeMusic have started to have cash flow problems, and it seems that they have dipped into the band's money in order to have their investment portfolios on things, and when the bands want their money, it's not there. Almost dipping into Ponzi scheme territory, where you're needing new bands to come in and to make a lot of money so you can pay off the bands that are already owed
That's
money.
entirely what it is. You're fronting the money.
Yes, which is super dangerous. So anyway, Queensryche are the latest victims of the crowdfunding and music fulfillment platform PledgeMusic, who have come under intense fire in recent months for the company's inability to pay bands money collected on their behalf. Queensryche had utilised PledgeMusic to serve as the storefront for their new album, The Verdict, offering various packages at different price levels ranging from CDs to clothing, to having one's name appear in the album's liner notes, to personal excursions with the band members, all standard fare for these types of campaigns. All told, Queensryche claim fans sent a total of $70,000 to PledgeMusic on the campaign, but the band is yet to see a single dollar of it. Queens being ill means that I can't say Queensryche the way I want to say Queensryche. I want there to be a bit more German on the end of that.
Queensryche.
Yeah, not the first band to experience problems with PledgeMusic, nor is the issue new. So let's read this quote. So the band posted on their Facebook page yesterday announcing that they would not be able to meet the promised ship date for backers of March 1st because they had yet to receive any money from PledgeMusic, money that was collected by the service on their behalf and was needed to manufacture and ship the physical products. The post reads in full, "It is with collective heavy hearts that we are writing to inform you that we have all been bamboozled by the people at PledgeMusic. The platform informed some people that they were having money troubles, but we have now also been informed that they are not, that they do not have the monies that were pledged to Queensryche. This means that the manufacturing nor shipments can be fulfilled. We've been lied to for months and months by various people at Pledge, and now have turned this entire mess over to our attorneys. As a pledger, please get to your credit card company now and demand a refund."
Wow.
"We are not alone in this matter, and it has been publicly made aware that many other artists have been affected as well. We are truly sorry for this and any inconvenience that this causes, but please do understand that this is all out of our control, and as we said before, the Pledge folks lied and lied while they mismanaged the monies of the company."
Good on Queensryche, just turning around and saying, get a refund as quick as you can, fuck these guys.
Yeah. The band followed up with another post. There seems to be some confusion about the post this morning regarding PledgeMusic. I don't know how you can be confused by that. I guess it says something about the IQ of the average Queensryche fan. I don't even know why I did that, because I don't dislike Queensryche in any way.
I've never listened to them. So.
Any opportunity to have a little dig. Nothing that was ordered will be fulfilled. Pledge does not have the money that was pledged to them, thus there is no money for manufacturing costs, and we are out $70,000.
You're not out $70,000.
Yeah.
That's a bit blown out of proportion. You never had it to start with.
Yeah. Pledge is no longer taking any campaign pledges for any band whatsoever, and they are not responding to us. Apparently they have money problems, and then in caps, please request a refund from your credit card company. If you are having problems with your credit card company, you can contact PledgeMusic's lawyer, Bob Lepowski, at Stephen & Lee. His email is, and then they've given out his email and phone number. Please note, the verdict will still be released on March 1st via all other outlets, including our label Century Media, Amazon, Fyre,
Oh, that one.
never heard of that, iTunes. Problem with all caps, that should be lowercase, lads. Your local record shops, etc. Only pre-orders through Pledge will be affected. Yeah, so shocking.
Especially that revelation that they're no longer taking any money for any bands. That's...
We are seeing the end of PledgeMusic, and it's just...
harrowing.
I'm just such a fan of crowdfunding. Even when I get stung by it, like at the moment, I've not been done over, but I'm a little bit annoyed. I crowdfunded...
a TTM?
Yeah. That's basically a crowdfunding scheme.
Yeah.
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 Sorry,
I had to get that in there.
Yeah, crowdfunded The Binding of Isaac, the card game.
I remember you talking about
Souls.
this.
I've got the card game out there. I've not had a chance to play it yet, but buzzing to play that. And I can't remember how much I paid, but I got the gold edition of the game with the expansion pack and a t-shirt. And it showed up without the t-shirt.
Oh.
And the level of ball ache that I am having just trying to get this t-shirt sent to me is shocking. Like, it shouldn't be this difficult. And I know that getting that shirt from them is totally up to them. It's totally their good grace that will get me that shirt, even though I'm entitled to it. You know, there is no recourse for me if that shirt never shows up.
Nope.
There is nothing I can do.
That's the risk you run when you go with crowdfunding platforms, unfortunately.
Yeah. So even then, like I like the model. I do like the model of crowdfunding.
Yes.
I think it is the thing that facilitates a lot of creative ideas.
I think it's just a bit too easy to abuse, though. And I think that's what puts people off. At least it does for me.
Yeah.
I'm concerned with the amount of times you hear about just things just being too good to be true. It's the only way I can really describe it.
Yeah. More sneezes are coming, so keep talking.
That's all right. I mean, I wish it weren't the case. I wish it was the case that the significant majority of these campaigns were fulfilled and people were really happy, and you only had one or two where it was like, that was a bit of a horror story, but thankfully that's a minority. But that's never what I hear about. It's always the negative ones.
Yep.
And it's just...
Which makes sense, because that's always the way it is.
Yeah. I'm not saying that's not the case.
Whenever we go on a holiday or go into a restaurant or whatever, she always goes on like TripAdvisor or whatever and looks for reviews. And I'm like, babe, nobody writes good reviews. Nobody goes, that was a nice holiday. I'm going to go on TripAdvisor and tell everybody how great it was.
I wouldn't say nobody, but you're right when you say it's the majority.
It's just, some people are really passionate about leaving reviews of things, and they'll literally review everything they do. But I'm not one of those people. But if I have bad service,
everybody knows about it.
Yeah, I'm going to go out of my way to make sure that company gets a 1-star type thing.
I'm getting a fucking text message like, Levi, you're in Portugal. I'm in Wisha. What are you doing? Place was shit, mate.
Yeah. Cool, super quick. Rapper Denzel Curry's cover of Rage Against the Machine's Balls on Parade. I had avoided listening to this until Mike brought it forward and gave it a listen. Yeah, good. I would recommend people go and give that a listen. Obviously don't want to play it for fear of copyright strikes, despite the fact that I played a bit of Mr. Big. That's going to be fun to edit out. That'd be easy to edit out. Worth a look. The thing I really enjoy about it is he seems really into it.
Yeah, there's a lot of passion in it. I think
it's hard to not be.
Oh, totally. Like, whether you like the music or not, I think even if it's not your cuppa, you can hear there's a good amount of force behind the music. There's definitely passion.
Yeah.
There's fire in it.
Not crazy on the guitar tone.
You did mention that. But
I think the whole thing is lacking top end. Like just the whole recording is a very woolly guitar sound with the bass and with the keyboard. Like it just needs a bit of top end. Probably not helped by the fact that he's got like next level amounts of fuzz and he's playing through the neck pickup of the Strat. So over the bridge pickup, buddy. Yeah.
I don't think it's too bad, but
it's not bad. It's just the kind of thing that, like, as I'm spending more and more time dealing with music production side of things and trying to learn to mix a little bit better, my ears just tune into things like that a little bit more than they used to now. And it's always a case of like, how would I have tweaked this? How would I have done this kind of thing?
Just imagine Levi pulling up like a 5-band graphic EQ and just EQing it while we're listening. Yeah. And just see it.
Yeah, I mean, when you've got the Fab Filter EQ plugin, like you're set. That's all you need. Go and buy the Fab Filter stuff.
Look at him plugging a plugin.
Right, cool. So let's close things up with some Total Guitar magazines.
Yes.
We've mixed this up. We've gone for Total Guitar magazines at the end. Today we have, September 2005. I hear rumours that we're getting some more Total Guitar magazines. Is that correct?
Yes, we are. At some point, I don't know how many, going all the way up to 2008. So there's quite a big gap between the 2003, 2004, up 2005, up to 2008. We'll see how that's progressed and who's still about and who isn't.
Yeah, it's funny because when I got these, I had this stack of guitar magazines. I was like, it's going to take us forever to get through those. But we're blitzing through them. We're over halfway through all of these. So
I think once you take the transcriptions out and you just get the things that are interesting and relevant these days, or the little nostalgia bits, you're quite easy enough to cut it down. So Levi, you said you've got September 2005.
Yep.
I've got August 2015, 2005. Yep. With the Guitar Gods, if you can name them all, I will personally give you a high five.
Yeah, okay, very good.
Starring Slash, Mark Tremonti, Anthrax, Killswitch Engage, and A.
Yeah. So I flicked through the monitor section of this, and the first thing I see is the Metal All Stars album due in October. I can see Rob Flynn, There is Joey Jordison, Dino Cazares, Matt Heafy. So you remember that album, Roadrunner United?
Roadrunner United, aye.
I have that.
This is the end, wasn't there? That was Dino Cazares played guitar on that one, I'm sure.
I forget who played on which track, but I have that on CD upstairs. I remember getting that when it came out. Was quite excited for that.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Can't remember why I was excited for it.
Probably because you were like, oh, these are a lot of bands that are on Roadrunner Records, and it was a label that you wanted to be on.
Yep.
Like everybody was at that point, they were choking for it. It was a death metal album, label before that. Quite a lot of death metal bands on it. But then, well, it became what it became.
Yeah.
And that was an interesting album, is the way I would describe it.
Yeah, certainly no moments on it that you look back on and you're like, oh, that's something that I need. I'm going to be listening to this one for years. I think it's probably one of those albums that no one has listened to in years and years and years.
I think, actually, Party Cannon listened to it last time, or a couple of times ago, sorry, we were away on tour.
Okay.
Just for a bit of nostalgia. And yeah, nostalgia's definitely the word to put on it.
So I see we've both got albums open.
Yes. It's always a good place to start.
So what do you have reviewed in your issue?
So, first album, Freak Kitchen, Organic.
That's a good record.
That's a fucking great record. For some reason, 3 out of 5 stars. And must hear the sweeping solo on The Rights to You, which sounds as though he's dragging his guitar through Stockholm on a golf cart while playing PlayStation.
I actually hate a 5-point voting, 5-point scale for scoring things.
You prefer 10?
Yeah, definitely. 20 even. So
20?
You can have
Okay.
0.5s, 10s with 0.5.
Oh, okay, right. Yep.
Because that position where you've got like 3 stars, like you look at 3 stars, you know, well that's bad. But 4 stars, that says that something's really good. Not perfect, but really good. There's no middle ground.
That should never be 3 stars.
No.
And why buy? Think Tom Morello has exhausted all the sounds a human being can make on an electric? Think again. That certainly cannot be criticism. You can't hold Matthias Eklund to ransom for being innovative on the guitar. He's fucking unbelievable.
Well, to be fair, that point is why you would buy it, not why you wouldn't buy it. I think that's what.
But it's quite snipey though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like this is nothing that Tom Morello hasn't done himself, but a wee bit different. It doesn't sound like Tom Morello.
I'll counter you, right? So Eric Clapton, you're gonna have to guess what this got. Eric Clapton, Back Home. What do you think?
I'm gonna guess 4 stars.
Okay. Well, what if I told you? I'll read under the any good section.
Oh no.
First, let's explain. Total Guitar loves Eric Clapton. Don't forget Eric's residency in the late 60s London was one of the major factors in Hendrix's decision to relocate from the USA to our capital. According to graffiti of the time, this man was God. There's certainly something of the divine about his legendary live session at Crossroads. Unfortunately, there's something seriously hellish about this latest CD. Don't get us wrong, the songs are tastefully written, Clapton's singing is undoubtedly tasty, and his playing is taste epitomised. It's just too damn tasteful for its own good. Doesn't sound the worst, does it? Why buy? If you like nothing better of an evening than driving around with the roof down on your Mercedes convertible, a beautiful but dumb girl by your side, but wait, all of your Simply Red CDs are scratched. Fear not, we found the perfect replacement. 1 star.
Good Lord.
1 star. You don't see that often. And that's the problem with a 5-star scale. 1 star means absolute garbage. That's shocking. They rate that worse than Keane. So there you go, Eric Clapton.
Fair enough.
What have you got for me?
I'm just trying to see what else is on here. I find it really interesting that throughout the full album section, there must be 10 albums here. Quite a lot of them have 4 out of 5 stars. And one of the essential listening ones is 4 out of 5 stars. So how does that make that better than the rest? Which kind of adds to your point. That album being Hayseed Dixie, A Hot Piece of Grass. I quite like Hayseed Dixie. I've seen them live. They're pretty good that way. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, they're pretty good live. To be fair, they're tight, they're fun. But it's a very limited spiel. You know, there's only so long until the gimmick runs out and you go,
yeah,
okay. Can you play something better, please? So anyway, any good. While they may be running out of grass / ass puns, they're surely not running out of ideas. This is some of the sizzliest guitar picking you're likely to hear this side of Deer Lick Holler by the men who really know how it's done. includes kick-ass Dixieization of Sabbath's War Pigs, Green Day's Holiday, Led Zeppelin's Whole Lot of Love, but the real scorchers are the 8 original tales of drinking, dealing and dogging the moonshiner's daughter. There's even a Deliverance-style dueling banjo set to finish it off. Is it just me or does that not make me want to listen to that? It just doesn't.
Yeah.
Why buy? Unauthorised duplication is prohibited and may well result in a full-on East Tennessee ass-whooping.
Well, they're trying to be funny.
Trying.
Yeah.
Trying.
Okay, I've got OPEF, Ghost Reveries.
Oh, getting about it.
Ghost Reveries. So how is this one aged, do you think? Any good? Ackerfeld is a man with a vision. OPEF have always pushed the boundaries of metal to new extremes with their previous records, and Ghost Reveries is no different. With 4 tracks well over the 10-minute mark, this is for the music fan who wants to be challenged by something different round every corner. Multi-layered acid jazz soundscapes, folksy histronics? Is that a word?
Histronics, hysterics maybe? Something like that, I don't know.
Rich, melancholic acoustic breakdowns, reminding you of Tool, twin guitar harmonies, thrash riffs, soaring melodic vocals, 1 minute and growling death rattles the next. What a journey. It borders on the self-indulgent at times. Hours of Wealth is 5 minutes of slow hand style blues soloing, but the rest more than makes up for it. And under Why Buy, they've gone with, because even after 15 years, OPEF are one of the most unique sounding metal bands out there.
Fair?
4 stars.
4 stars. Everyone's got 4 stars.
Yeah.
Right, okay. The only other one on here that I really want to read out, because I've just spotted what it says at the end and I'm laughing at myself. Megadeth, greatest hits, back to the start. So how many greatest hits they have, I don't know. Quite a lot. Who they? Megadeth main man Dave Mustaine used to be in Metallica donkeys years ago. When he left, he formed another great metal band. Yep, that's Megadeth. Wrote some cracking tunes and delivered some very tidy guitar playing along the way. He's had countless guitar sidekicks over the years, though Marty Friedman was the longest serving from 1990 to 2000. Any good. The best news is that the band's cover of Alice Cooper's No More Mr. Nice Guy didn't make the cut, which is fair. Phew. After that, they couldn't really go wrong. This compilation was put together with the help of a poll of fans' favourite Megadeth ditties. The fans have certainly chosen well, bless them. Must hear, Peace Sells is still brilliant, but its opening track, Holy War's the punishment due that rocks our world. If you haven't listened to The Death for a while, you might be surprised just how great they could be. You also get a DVD with this album that includes the Kill the King video, and a live show at the Fillmore Auditorium in Denver, Colorado from 1999. Why buy? This could be Megadeth's last year, according to Dave. Enjoy them while you can. 2005. Milked for 14 years and counting.
Well, to be fair, I wish they had stopped around that point, but if they had, then we wouldn't have had Dystopia.
That'd have been disappointing.
Banger of an album. Fear Factory.
The System Has Failed. The System Has Failed's a good album. Chris Poland came back.
Oh, yeah.
Not a lot of great songs.
I always forget that, actually. Yeah, I always forget that. Fear Factory.
What album is it?
Transgression.
Okay.
2 stars.
Oh.
Why buy? Good question. For a genre of pioneering band like Fear Factory, a transgression is exactly what this is, for diehard fans only. Oh, brutal.
Seething, man. Christ almighty.
There's a couple of others in here. They've also reviewed Arch Enemy's Doomsday Machine. I'm not going to talk about Arch Enemy because they are still on my shit list. And various artists featured on the Cave official soundtrack. Do you remember the film The Cave?
No.
Okay.
There's a Stained album on there I can see.
Yeah, well, I mean, no one wants to talk about that.
I do more than Arch Enemy.
Yeah, The Cave, if I remember right, had the Korean guy from Lost in it. There's certainly a guy from Lost in it. That's all I remember about that film. The movie tagline goes, beneath heaven lies hell, beneath hell lies the cave. And you can expect most of the guitars on this soundtrack to be detuned even lower than that. Is it any good? It's a who's who of Shouty Land with Killswitch Engage, Shadows Fall, Lacuna Coil, Bleeding Through, Open Hand, Mastodon, and Atreyu. Yeah. I was never really into compilation CDs. Never into compilation CDs. Why would you need to be? Because at the time, Metal Hammer were putting a compilation CD on the cover of every magazine. You know, there was no need to go out and buy the Cave official soundtrack.
Party Cannon was in one of them.
Yeah,
nice. Before I was in the band. Paul Gilbert and Mike Patton together. That would have been quite the combination.
Yeah. So that's it for album reviews for me.
Yeah,
Anything else you want
there's
to
not
talk about?
really anything else on here that's worth reviewing. Supergrass, Eric Johnson, Devil Driver, Fury of Our Maker's Hand. It was okay. Just okay. Chimera, again, never gave them much of a listen. Fun Loving Criminals and The Transplants, so nothing too exciting. However, if we skip further on into the fun of the gear equipment, oh, you've got a great article there. I'll let you go first.
This was the issue where they featured the too drunk to pluck feature, where they were trying to work out how much alcohol could be consumed before they were unable to play anymore. And it's just a lot of... I can't help but notice how Steve, in all of these photos, looks like Butsy, who is often pictured with that many beers in his hand.
That's true.
Yeah. It's a silly little story. I don't take any offence at it. It's the kind of thing you'd expect in Total Guitar magazine. I'll just read the conclusion. So, more than 42 beers and a flood of vodka later, Team Total Guitar are drunker than a bunch of winos at the Threshers convention. Putting the initial opening rounds down to a mix of adrenaline and nerves, it appears as though alcohol helped the guys feel more relaxed when playing. But it's just as likely and more plausible, given the state that they were in at the end, that practice, not booze, makes perfect. When you play the same 2 bars 6-7 times in a row, you're bound to get better, right? A barrel full of alcohol may loosen you up a bit, but it's a loaded gun, as Phil found out while drooling semi-unconscious in Total Guitar's armchair. James and his exorcist vomiting out of the back. Nick and his nigh-on broken arm. Stephen with a bastard behind the eyes. And a hefty beer tab to boot. Yeah. Moral of the story is, Total Guitar readers, that Slash, Dimebag, Zakk Wylde, just about every other rock monster who was drinking since before Total Guitar was born may be able to slug it back and still rip solos out of their ass. But for the rest of us, we should invest our time and pre-gig efforts into practicing and not trying to down a yard of ale in one. So, yeah, I get on board with that. Never a drinker when playing live.
A beer or two, fine. But even then...
What have you got for me?
So, we've got, as ever, in every fucking Total Guitar episode,
Issue.
I'm going to get it right one day, issue you'll ever read. You've got some good tech. You've got the Line 6 Variac Workbench, which was the interface for the Line 6 Variac guitars.
Surprised that doesn't come with the guitar.
Yeah, bit of a strange one. Who's it for? Anyone who's considered dropping a path into their Telecaster but doesn't know which way up to hold up a hacksaw. Okay. So this got 4 out of 5 stars, which
is surprising.
About.
Yeah.
Usually it's 5 out of 5 and best bit of gear you've ever seen. Reason being 4, cheap and as authentic as you'd expect. Against, not as intuitive as some Line 6 gear. I mean, to be fair, the pictures they've got is like you can pick which type of pickup, where it should be on the body, phasing, etc. It's probably more of an experiment, try and make this easy for people, than anything. You know, it's quite a lot of fucking about with. So I can see why they would maybe say that's not as intuitive as expected.
I've got a similar product in here, actually, the Line 6 Variax bass, which I'm not sure if I'd forgotten that it existed or didn't even know that it ever existed.
I mean, when you've not got any bass in the mix, what's the point?
I gave that 4. So,
So they should go hand in hand. That's fair enough. Oh, the Fender G-Deck. If anyone remembers these horrendous strap-laden pieces of shit. Just got to skip right to the end. 4, huge range of backing tracks and effects. Portable, no more arguments about what to play. Against, overdrive setting could have been a bit beefier. 4 out of 5. It's an 8-inch battery-powered speaker with backing tracks. Just no.
Shorthand.
Just no. And I think that's about it for the technology in this one.
Cool. Awesome.
Well, brilliant.
Well, that's us. Finally, I should just make mention to what we're listening to. Are you listening to any music, Mike?
You know, I've still got Intronaut to give a listen. I've seen that's been reviewed recommended a few times. I've been listening to Misery Index, The Killing Gods. Misery Index are, I think, 2 ex-members of Dying Fetus who went on to do their own stuff.
Which you happen to be wearing a shirt of.
Exactly, so I love the
Not
Dying
as good
Fetus
as
albums.
a Guitar Soul shirt.
No, it's not. It's not. I mean, but you can buy one if you want one, obviously.
Yeah.
It's definitely more readily available than Dying Fetus merchandise, in my opinion, before we get attacked here.
Yeah.
But you should definitely buy one because you would support us and it'd be really nice and it would pay for hosting costs. Maybe Levi and I could go for a steak dinner on your cost and we could start saying things like Doyle. Like, I fuck the fans, 50 quid for meet and greets. Anyway, no, I've not been listening to too much. The Killing Gods is the last album I've gave a listen that I hadn't heard before and I've really been enjoying.
I mean, me neither, apparently. I've just recently played on my Spotify and on the last episode I talked about Intronaut. Well, that was the second last album that I listened to. But I have listened to a fair amount of the Rivers of Nile album, Where Owls Know My Name, which was recommended by someone on Facebook. I forget who now, which is very unprofessional of me. But, you know, when recommendations are made to me, especially for something that is going to be suitable for the gym, I often listen and I'm more than happy to give things a go. So, yeah, I kind of enjoyed that. What I would say about that is I EQ'd my AirPods recently. Right. Because, you know, any headphones, anything that you listen to music on, it's always too bassy. Everything's too bassy because they just assume that the only music people listen to is dance music. So for listening to other things, I'd kind of dialed the bass right down on the headphones, which really helped with clarity when listening to things. And when I listened to this album, my first thought was I wanted to reach for the bass knob to turn the bass up because there was just less than I'd expect on just about anything else. But actually, I really liked that because it added a lot of clarity to things. I could hear what was happening a lot better than what you expect when you listen to something with a lot of low end. So yeah, I've obviously listened to it on speakers outside of little headphone speakers, and yeah, I like the mix. I like the fact there's a bunch of saxophone on the album. Why not? Why the hell not? Random saxophone solos, they always make me happy. People doing new and different things. So yeah, very cool.
Another album that I listen to, if anyone's interested in some brutal death metal, is Incessant Hallucinations by Iniquitous Deeds for 2015. That's some fucking silly riffs on that, man. Yeah. Some silly riffs on that.
I also I purchased Haken's Vector? Yeah. I bought that on CD just so I'd have it in the car because I still don't have a car that allows me to Bluetooth things. So yeah, I've been listening to that on repeat when I've been driving. That's a banger of an album. Really is a banger of an album. Absolutely.
I've heard it a few times. Really enjoyed it.
Having said that, there is a song on there that I need to go back and listen to some other stuff to make a comparison because it is a Bumblefoot song. I think the song's called Save Me, or at least the chorus hook is Save Me.
He's calling you guys out, Charlie.
Well, it will be in. It must be Vale. So I know Charlie's a big Bumblefoot fan. I remember him going around university wearing a Bumblefoot t-shirt. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, that is us. Homage. We are going to cut the show off there. So thank you very much for listening, guys. Any messages for our fans?
Thanks for putting up with us while we've been ill and somewhat less livelier than usual. We'll be back, hopefully full of vitamins and excitable next time. Yeah. Like, share, subscribe, leave comments, call us assholes, report us to anti-vaxxers or fucking AIDS deniers. Remember and let us know if you can think anyone who's a Holocaust denier who's a famous musician, because these things will be very interesting to look into. Yeah. Buy your merch. Thanks again to the guys at Rev for looking after us. I've been having a lot of fun with the G3 recently. I managed to get I bought a power amp pedal recently, an EHX Magnum 44, and it's working a bit better now. Cool. So that's a killer setup for touring. Well, we're just waiting on the Guitar Souls Generator 120 to show up. Oh yeah. So, I've not posted any pictures publicly of that yet. Only on my Patreon page. But yeah, there is a Guitar Souls amp that exists. It'll be here soon. So yeah, wait for news on that one, guys. When that comes, we'll be doing some nice videos with that one. Okay. Anyway, it's like there's a tradition at this point. So Mike, until next time. Bye, fuckers.